The migrant population here is growing. La comunidad migratoria crece cada día más. And the expectations is that Joe Biden is going to give them access from now on.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I'm not in my car today. Well, I was in my car earlier. I did a live. If you caught it, thank you for joining. But your girl felt like I needed to step it up a notch, get back in this makeshift studio of mine and do a legit video for you. So I was inspired today because I was perusing through YouTube, and you kind of got an idea from the intro video what I'm going to be talking about. But I saw another Jen Psaki press conference where the amazing Peter Doocy from Fox News, who has just been slaying her with questions that she cannot answer ever. But shout out to him because he's been doing an amazing job, you know, trying to keep her accountable for these questions and answers that he's trying to get for the American people, which she doesn't give very good answers. And this video that we're going to be talking about today, I'm going to play little clips. I'm going to stop. I'm going to comment along the way because he asked her a question about the crisis at the border. And she, just, as always, she couldn't answer it. She was lost for words. She's a total freaking disgrace. They know that they have gotten themselves in deep water, okay, because they promised to open up these borders, and these people heard that promise, and that's all they heard. They don't care about anything else that they're saying. You know, she's talking about, you know, we have a process and it's going to take time because we're undoing a 4 years of destruction of what once was a great process. No, it wasn't. So, you know, she claims that they're cleaning up a huge mess, and that's the excuse as to why, you know, there is this crisis at the border. However, they don't ever admit it's a crisis. That's a very, very important thing for me to point out. You will never hear them admit to the fact that there is, in fact, a major crisis like we have never seen at the border before. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and play the first clip of this video. Then I'm going to come back and comment on it. So roll the clip.
Migrants from right there for a month now, all the way back to February 10th, that now is not the time to come, but they are coming in bigger numbers every day. So do you have a messaging problem?
Well, I would say that in the last administration, we had a morality problem.
So we're going to stop it right there. So you saw that he flat out asked her, how are we addressing this problem at the border? We have a huge crisis going on. The communication that you have been doing doesn't seem to be working. Do you think maybe you have a messaging problem? And right away, she turns around and blames it on the prior administration, which is Trump, okay? Saying that they had a morality problem, okay? So what they were doing was immoral. Let's keep rolling.
Children were being pulled from the arms of their parents.
Lies. That is complete lies, okay? I am so sick and tired of this narrative that ICE agents were ripping children out of the arms of their parents. No, they weren't. And in fact, if you go back to how they reported this before Trump left office, you know, they were saying that parents were being kept in the ICE detention centers with their children in cages, if you don't remember that. So the fact that they paint this picture that ICE agents were like swooping in and ripping these children from the arms of their parents is a complete lie. In 80 to 90% of the children that come across the border, and this is facts, they are without their parents for various reasons, okay? Now, reasons that you guys probably, or not you guys, because you guys are intelligent, but other people don't want to hear, which is these kids are sold, okay? It costs, on average, anywhere between $8,000 to $10,000 for you to be taken through the trek, depending on, you know, where you're coming from and how far you have to go through the border. So a lot of times these kids actually get either sold to these coyotes because these people need to have a child with them to have a better chance to get over the border, or they get abducted either from the camps that these people are staying in as they're going along the way. Or these kids are just children of the street, which is a very common thing. If you've been to Mexico, by the border, you will see tons of children there that are just homeless. They're panhandling, they're living life on their own, and that's just what it is. So lies, 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 lies. Jen, let's keep watching.
From the arms of their parents, and kids were being sent back on a treacherous journey, and that's not.
Okay, I'm sorry to keep stopping this, but kids were sent back on a treacherous journey. So what she's implying here is that the ICE agents were, let me just paint the picture, okay? They were ripping the children from their parents' arms and then sent by themselves to go back to wherever they came from. Do you really think that that was happening? Do you really think that our government, our ICE agents, our law enforcement would do that? Do you really think our president would do that? He spent his entire presidency rescuing children from people who had them in bad situations. Do you really think that he's going to, be okay with these ICE agents ripping the children out of their parents' hands and just pushing them back over the border along their way? No. Shame on them for painting it that way, because that's completely inaccurate.
So certainly we understand that means there will be more kids who are crossing the border. We made a policy decision that was the right, humane step to take. But I think it's also important for people to understand that the vast majority of people who come to our border are turned away, are sent back to their country.
Okay, so the vast majority of people that come to the border are turned away. Okay, I want to see those numbers, because that, again, that goes back to his original question about their messaging. That wasn't their messaging. Their messaging was, come one, come all, but the vast majority of you are going to be turned away. No, the messaging was, come one, come all, walls coming down, borders are open, me land is your land. No, that's not, she is, again, not being responsible with how she is painting this picture, okay? They're making it seem like they're keeping our borders secure. I'm gonna roll here a quick video so that you can see. This is a guy that I actually follow on Facebook, and I think he does like a Latino news channel or something like that on Facebook, and he did a live reporting, and he was showing basically the situation at the border, and he couldn't even capture the full, image of what it was really looking like there as far as how many people were there. Number one, because it just spanned further than his camera could really capture. And number two, he said there are so many children there. And so he wanted to protect the privacy of the children and not put the children on camera. So there was very little that he could do as far as filming. But you will see there are tents upon tents upon tents everywhere you look. These people are waiting. They're not being told to go back. You're not coming in. These people are waiting.
The situation has become critical. There's people that they don't have a tent and they're waiting for the promises of Joe Biden. La situación está crítica y están esperando que un oficial de gobierno de los Estados Unidos dé unas declaraciones y no los han dado. Déjenme voltear la cámara, hay niños aquí. As this is the actual situation right here. Y esta es la situación ahorita en estos momentos que se presenta dentro del albergue. Estamos caminando aquí por el medio. This is the actual situation right here. Dale, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo te va, mamá?
Aquí viejo con este tos y esta gripa que no se me quita, hermano.
¿No se quita?
Sí, me están cobrando 150 pesos por una medicina.
So they need to be responsible for that, because that's the message they painted. And another thing is, they need to understand that when you tell Latinos something, okay, it's the way that you're conveying it in English, it's not going to translate exactly like that over in Spanish. So when they're reporting this on, Univision or whatever news channel these people are watching to get their information, it's being translated a completely different way. So, I'm very, very surprised that Alejandro Mayorkas, which is, on the Biden team, this is his deal. This is what he does. He should be communicating this stuff very, very clearly in Spanish to people. I don't know if he is. But let's keep watching the interview. I'm sorry to keep talking so much, but I have a lot to say.
Are turned away, are sent back to their countries. What we're talking about here are unaccompanied children.
Again, I'm really sorry I keep stopping this, but do you notice now she's saying we're talking about unaccompanied children? Whereas before, when President Trump was in office, these children were supposedly coming across with their parents and being ripped out of their arms. Do you see how she flip-flops on the story? So now these children are unaccompanied. Do you think that a kid is just gonna be like, you know what? Today looks like a good day for me to run away from home and try to make it across the border. No, these kids are being used, you guys. These kids are being used. And I'm not so sure that they're any safer in the hands of these people, to tell you the truth. And when I say these people, I'm talking about this administration that is putting together a plan on what to do with these kids. I've stated that before in other videos. I'm not going to like expand on that, but you know, you can fill in the blanks on what you think I'm talking about. So let's keep watching.
Our focus is ensuring that there are safe places for these kids to go, that have access, where they have access to educational resources, health and medical attention, legal.
Okay, so here she is trying to take credit, or they're trying to take credit for something that Trump was already doing. They're basically painting a picture that they've come up with this grand new plan, and it isn't that way. That's exactly what Trump had. What they're struggling with is they're now having to find more space, because actually the truth is that Biden has more detained illegals than Trump ever had in these ICE detention centers, and they're running out of space, and they are having to bring in like portable like containers for people to stay in. They're having to build just like quick pop-up tents and housing for these people. Now, I have referenced this several times before, but Candace Owens, you can search it up on YouTube. Candace Owens actually visited a detention center, and she documented that they had Pilates classes and volleyball courts and soccer fields and, you know, a library. I mean, it was almost like a spa, you know, that these people were staying in. So what she's talking about when she says that, you know, they're looking for adequate facilities to house these people in, I don't know what she's talking about, because again, she's contradicting herself when she says the vast majority gets sent back over the border. Let's keep watching.
That we have. I will say we are, as you noted, almost 50 days in. We are digging ourselves out of a broken and dismantled system. Roberta Messer-Jacobson referenced this in her opening as well. When it comes to engagement with countries addressing the root causes, we couldn't start doing that until January 20th. There are programs like the relaunching of the Central American Minors Program, which was ended by the prior administration in 2017. And that meant that that program, which would have allowed for people to apply from the region, we had to restart that program. So we're working to fix the mess of the last couple of years. It's going to take some time, but this is clearly a priority for the president. We're looking at a range of options, which include the opening of additional facilities.
So see right there, she just said it. They're working on opening additional facilities. If you weren't detaining so many illegals, more than Trump ever has in the entire 4 years that he was president, why would you need to make additional facilities? Okay, so again, I want to continue to point out what they're trying to do here. What she's not saying is they made this open, wide statement with no structure around it to these people, basically painting the picture that they were going to be let into the United States, that if they wanted to seek asylum, they were going to be let into the United States. Now, they can come over and say they're seeking asylum. When she says that their case needs to be adjudicated, that means that just because they say they're seeking asylum, they still have to go before a judge and have that legally determined that that is the case. And there's different types of asylum. There's, you know, financial hardship type asylum. There is a discrimination against sexuality asylum, which I talked about in another video, you know, fear of safety. But understand, the only difference between this plan, lack thereof, and what Trump did was that Trump only said, cool, we'll look at everybody's case. Just wait on your side of the wall and don't come over the wall. Come through the door, okay? Come to the door, knock, and when you're ready, when we're ready to let you in, we'll let you in. Okay, when we vetted you, when we've made sure that you're not a criminal, that, you know, there's nothing shady going on there, we'll let you in. But wait over in your country of residence while we do that, okay? What these people are doing, and this is why this plan is blowing up in their face, is that they just told everybody, come on over and then we'll figure it out, which is what we used to do before, which is why we had a huge illegal immigrant problem, okay? They're using up our resources while they're here. It takes 6 to 8 months, if not longer, for those cases to get adjudicated. So imagine that times hundreds and hundreds and thousands of illegal immigrants coming in here, you know, using our resources. You know, they're not properly vetted. In the video that I showed you earlier that guy posted a live of, you will see a lot of them don't even have masks on. Okay, and here we are, you know, in my state of Texas, we're supposedly not having to wear masks anymore. We're still wearing masks because we're still afraid of COVID. But yet we're like, hey, bring all these illegal immigrants in. But does nobody take notice of the fact that none of them are wearing masks over there? None of them? We have people here that can't get vaccinations because of their age or whatever yet, or, you know, have a hard time getting a test because of the cost, and we're going to spend all that money to test people that shouldn't even be here to begin with? Give me a break. You know, give me a break. Let's keep watching.
I think it's a problem that when the CDC tells these migrant shelter facilities that they can be at full capacity if they are careful about COVID, many of them do. But when the CDC tells schools that they can open in person at full capacity, many of them don't.
Is there a school in particular that you have as an example that didn't do that?
Are most schools in this country at full capacity with in-person learning?
Is there a specific school, though, that is not following the CDC guidelines of implementing the mitigation steps so they can reopen?
I mean, the CDC is saying schools, you can be every school can be at full capacity.
Do you see how she continually deflects? This is what she does. She circles back. Well, in this case, she's not circling back. She's trying to throw it in his court and kind of, you know, ask him a question when she's not even answering his question. And his question is very valid. How are you going to say that the CDC is saying that you can pack these facilities to full capacity as long as they're being careful, okay? But yet you can't have kids in school. What is that? You're saying that we needed to pass this COVID relief bill to release billions of dollars for schools to do even more adjustments so that the kids can be even more protected from this deadly virus, okay? But again, the CDC doesn't have a problem with them being jam-packed into a detention center. It doesn't make sense. And you see how she says, well, do you have a specific school in mind? You're going to see later on in a little bit here, she's going to actually start to almost admit that schools are slowly starting to work towards that, but they're not all that way. So for her to turn around and ask him, well, what school specifically are you talking about? She knows damn well he's not talking about any specific school. I personally, Jen, you can call me. You've got my YouTube channel. You can reach out to me via email. I can personally give you at least 4 schools in my area that are not at full capacity. I can give you dozens of businesses that are not at full capacity if you need examples. So quit with the bullshit. Let's keep watching.
With the CDC guidelines, just to be clear, because I think this is very important to be very clear and specific on, they gave 8 mitigation steps that schools can take to safely reopen. A number of schools have actually recently reopened. Schools in Washington, D.C., some have, schools in many districts across the country. But each school district needs to make the decision about whether they are able to take those mitigation steps. The president has also been clear, some of these school districts need additional funding. There's $160 billion in this package that he's going to sign into law later this week. The Secretary of Education will be quite focused on working with school districts to help them reopen. But more school districts are reopening, more kids are in classrooms every single day.
But since they are not all back, from an administration position or from your perspective, have the Border Patrol unions and the HHS unions been easier to work with than the teachers' unions?
I think that's a little bit of mixing different circumstances. I would say that...
It's children all in tight quarters. I mean, a classroom...
You see how she laughs? Now he does call her out on laughing. He tells her it's not funny. But do you see how she laughs? Because she's nervous, okay? When somebody is lying through their teeth, when they are not speaking honestly, okay, and sincerely about something, when they don't believe the words that are coming out of their own mouth, they laugh because it's a nervous reaction. Shame on her, because he's talking about a very serious subject. They're talking about children in close quarters, whether it be in an ICE detention center or a school, and she does not have a clear, concise answer on that. So shame on you, Jen, for laughing, because you are supposed to be professional. You would never see Kaylee McEnany laughing up here about speaking about a subject like this. And if she did, they would have ripped her in the press. They would have ripped her in half. And this woman continuously, just speaks like, this is a big joke to me, Let's keep watching. You'll hear Peter call her out in just a second.
Not quite. Not quite. I would say that let's take a responsible approach to the two issues, okay? One is schools reopening. There's been 8 mitigation steps that have been announced by the CDC to implement, right?
Yeah.
Every school district is going to work to implement those on a timeline that is they can effectively do. Many school districts are reopening, right? Many are reopening every single week and day and week. Right? That is a different circumstance than what we are seeing at the border. And the HHS oversees these facilities, right? They're working on ensuring we can have more kids safely. They are working to implement CDC guidelines, but they are different circumstances. And certainly we're working with the school districts, and we're also working with HHS to open these facilities, or to ensure that kids are treated with safety and care.
All right, so that's pretty much the end of the video. I'll link it below so you guys can see. At the end of the day, the point is this. Your number one priority, Biden administration, Jen Psaki, should be the children in the United States, first and foremost, making sure that they have what they need to be back in school, that people in general here in the United States have what they need to be back to normal life. Yet you are spending days and months, this has been going on for years, okay, that they have been trying to go back and forth on this immigration thing, and it shouldn't be a priority. These people are illegal and do not belong in this country. Now, I'm not talking about DACA people that are already here, you guys. Understand, I'm talking about these people that are currently residing in Mexico or Guatemala or Honduras that are trying to come over here and infiltrate our country and suck it dry of its resources. So understand that that's who I'm talking about. Understand that what I'm saying is their main priority needs to be us, not them, okay? Anyways, I want to know what you guys think in the comments box below. Please share this video. I know you guys love when I rip Miss Jen Psaki. This wasn't so much of a rip, but I had to call her to the carpet on this because, again, this topic to me is a big one. It needs to be made very clear because in the press, in the media, on social media, it is totally skewed, and people are misled with pictures and whatnot. So I'm so happy that, there's people like this reporter that did like a Facebook live feed where he was showing people what really is going on the other side of the border, because there's so many people who have no idea. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching my video. Please make sure you give this video a like. It is super, super important to make sure that my video gets seen. Give this video a share. Do not forget to subscribe. Do not forget to go to my website at letstalkdarling.com and subscribe there as well. Follow me on all social media, and don't forget to come back for another video. Thank you guys so much. I love you, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.